Brian, is there anything you'd say to your kids?
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. Really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. Just wrapped up another day of the Brian Walshe trial. He's, of course, accused of killing his wife, Ana Walshe, here in Massachusetts. Just insane what came out today. More of his searches. He was searching a serial killer who was known to put people in trash bags. Didn't know about that. His porn searches were wild. There were photos of his hands. He actually had cuts on his hands after Ana went missing. And remember, he's accused of dismembering the body. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm going to get into all the latest that happened in court in this episode of Brian Ensign Investigates. Hey guys, so I'm in the car outside the courthouse. It gets so dark early now. I just got, my hair looks weird. I just got like drenched wet. It's just been this cold rain all day here. In the Boston area, and I waited outside. I wanted to see, I knew they were going to bring Brian Walshe out the back of the courthouse. It was like delayed, and I was waiting in the rain, and I wasn't sure, like I knew I didn't miss him because I had been waiting, but I started to second guess myself, but then they did bring him out, and I was able to ask him a couple of questions. They have him shackled, they put him in the back of the van, but he didn't respond to my questions. Take a look.
Brian, is there anything you'd say to your kids? Anything you'd want to say to Ana's family?
So it was another really sort of crazy day in the Brian Walshe trial. Brian Walshe, of course, is accused of killing his wife, Ana Walshe, and dismembering her body, cutting up her body, and the body has never been found. Just a little reminder, he has pled guilty to hiding the body and to also lying to police, but he's pleading not guilty to his murder charge. And he said yesterday, his defense basically said that he found Ana dead in the bed and panicked and didn't know what to do and then got rid of the body. So that seems like it's going to be the defense. But today there was a ton more just embarrassing. I mean, I was thinking of Brian Walshe sitting there. I mean, all of his searches, his porn history came out, all of it. I'm going to go through everything that we learned here. They basically got all of the history from his MacBook computer. Searches included some items that we've already heard, but after several sidebars and objections, we finally got to see the search results. This is from January 1st, 2023, including some disturbing things. Some of this was hard to understand, but searches about how to clean a knife that has been contaminated with HIV blood. And this was interesting. There was a search of famed killer Robert Kearney. Okay, he's a famed serial killer, Robert Kearney. Apparently, Brian Walshe searched him. He was dubbed the trash bag killer because he disposed of his victims' body parts in trash bags. So Brian Walshe was researching this guy. There was also these photos shown of these little cuts on his hands, on Brian Walshe's hands. Police took these photos after Ana was missing, and just kind of goes back to this whole theory of dismemberment. And then there was also photos of Ana's boots and other items that belonged to Ana that were found in a dumpster where detectives say that that Brian Walshe threw this stuff out. So that came out today. They showed those photos. This was interesting. Even before Ana Walshe died, Brian was busy searching his computer about divorce, which this stuff is important because the prosecution is trying to, it seems like their motive here is going to be that the marriage was falling apart. She was cheating and having an affair. Divorce was, a possibility and lingering out there. And the defense has said that it was like so happy, the marriage was so happy that they had this great New Year's Eve together, that he wasn't upset with Ana. So this divorce stuff is interesting. He'd been searching his computer about divorce. So this kind of goes against this whole defense theory that they tried to paint in openings. Checking his wife's financial accounts. He searched the best state in which to divorce. He also spent time watching. So there's all sorts of divorce stuff. Best strategies for men for divorce. Best states for divorce for men. Five best and worst states to get divorced. Washington, D.C. divorce lawyer. Websites regarding divorce in D.C. 10 stupid mistakes men make in divorce. And then they also went through his porn history, Pornhub, And one of the porn videos he watched was called Cheating Wife Seduces Another Man to Impregnate Her. So the jury heard all of that, which was kind of interesting. And he was just like sitting there, and his mom was sitting there. And the whole thing was kind of obviously awkward. So he's a lot of divorce Google searches. And then he also searched a lot, which we knew some of this yesterday, but there's a lot of new elements today, about how to get rid of bodies. The state trooper who is the prosecution's technical expert testified about Walsh's searches that sought to find out answers to questions about whether a body can be identified when it has broken teeth. And then, that kind of made me wonder, which is just awful to think about, but did he knock out Ana Walshe's teeth before she was dead? There was also a lot of questions about technology related to the SIM card, iPhone. Jury heard all of those explanations. And he also had like just normal searches, which was kind of interesting. Searches for publications like Wired. He watched a video on how to clean a human body. There was also 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. Sorry, the car just turned off. It's so hot too. I mean, it's so cold out. I gotta keep the heat on. 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. Best places to dispose of a body. The search was done through Google. There was like a YouTube video he was watching about it. How many cadaver dogs are there? How long does DNA last? Is it possible to clean DNA off of a knife? He searched. Can identification be made on partial human remains? How to dispose of a cell phone? How to dispose of a computer? My wife is missing. What should I do? Your spouse is missing and you want a divorce. Best way to dispose of body parts after murder. Is it possible that knife, which had blood on it, remains contaminated with HIV after it's been washed with hot water and dishwasher soap? How to remove a SIM card from an iPhone. How to saw a body. How to dismember a body. Hacksaw, best tool for dismembering a body. I mean, according to detectives, he was searching all this stuff. I'm so wet. Oh my gosh. Can you be charged with murder without a body? Can you identify a body with broken teeth? No corpse, no problem. Notable murder convictions without a body. What powder masks smells best? Can I mix white vinegar to stop smells? Can baking soda make a dead body smell good? Cleaning out blood without leaving a trace. I mean, this guy, like, you would think he would have known that they could go back and find his searches. How long for a dismembered body to decompose? Body found in trash station. Can a body decompose in a plastic bag? Can police get your search history without your computer? Does a cell phone track your historical location? So they went through in detail all of these searches. And that took up a big part of the day with the detective on the stand. They also played additional parts of the interview with Brian Walshe that police did with him. He said he would talk to them. He didn't have a lawyer or anything, I don't think, at that time. This was after Ana was missing. And, tried to portray like they had a good marriage or whatever. So, yeah, it was sort of another, gotta wonder what the jurors are thinking here. I mean, like, hearing all of this. It's another crazy day. Okay, so I'm back in the hotel. Very, very rainy today here near Boston and very, very cold. With Allison Weiner, my producer, who's been in the courtroom today all day and has just like become a real expert on the case. So thank you for talking with me again, Allison, by the way, has a book coming out, which I want to promote for a second. Especially if you're into crime, it's a really a behind the scenes.
It's a behind the scenes look at what we do, investigating, and I'm cover 4 high-profile criminal cases, and I've done them. They go over like a 20-year period, and you get to find out. Say, I'm covering the Holly Bobo case, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know. And in that case, what it was like to meet the family for the first time and come in the house, and how difficult it was to hear and feel their pain about what had happened. It's something Brian and I were just talking about.
Like a real behind the scenes.
It's a real behind the scenes. It's called Murder in the Media. It's behind-the-scenes coverage of 4 high-profile criminal cases, and it is available now on Amazon, and it's also available at barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, and just look for Murder in the Media, Allison Hope Weiner. And please pre-order it because they will make more copies if you do that. And I can write about more of the cases, and we've got some good ones coming up.
I love it. Okay, so we got a little shout out for the book. That's
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, back to the trial today. More of these like searches came out, these crazy searches. First of all, I mean, to go there, but the porn, what was the deal with that?
You know what? I didn't think it was such a big deal, the whole thing. And he actually got the policeman, the trooper that was on the stand, to admit that the reason he pulled certain titles and that they were introduced as evidence as opposed to other titles, he apparently watched 12 movies like over this period of time from December 25th to January 8th. There were 12 hits on the Pornhub thing. And so he pulled it because one of them had the word, about the wife, cheating wife. And the defense attorney said, did you particularly hone on this because it said cheating wife? And he said, yes, yes, I did. And so there was a lot of discussion about that. I think, and you and I we were just chatting about this, he's got bigger problems than watching some porn.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the other searches, I don't know how you explain them. And some of them were just bizarre. The thing that really struck me, there were a couple of things about the searches. First thing that really struck me was how they were from a lot of legitimate places and books. All of these places to find out how to clean a dead body, how to chop up a body, what's the best tool to chop up.
Articles.
Yeah. And then the second thing was his concern about how is it going to smell? And what's the best mask to buy that smells the best, like while you're chopping up a body. And there's one murder, it's, they have crazy titles and it sounds like it's all a joke, but we know based on his admission and his pleading guilty that he actually did dispose of her body. He also got he did purchase it. We haven't seen that yet and they haven't gone through it, but he did purchase a hacksaw. And it's just, those two things, the availability of the knowledge on the internet, and the fact that right at around 3:40 in the morning, he starts these searches. I guess it's after he nudged her body out of the bed and she went flying off of the bed.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're frenetic. Couple, this and that. And they're very also, then he starts wondering how to clean up after. So it's really a two-pronger. How do you get rid of a body? How do you cut up a body? And then how do you get rid of the mess you just made? And what can you do? And then some weird questions some that were technically you understood, like maybe he wouldn't know that. But then how do you get a SIM card out of an iPhone? I mean, some of them were kind of.
So the searches, I mean, we know he's admitted to disposing of the body, lying to police. The searches are just bad. I mean, there's no way. One thing, though, that I think is still sort of a mystery that I don't know that I fully made my mind up on is whether or not he knew about the affair, which is important because the prosecution is trying to push this narrative that perhaps that's the motive, like that there was all this stuff going on behind the scenes and this marriage was falling apart in this affair. And the defense is making it seem like they were happy, which there clearly were issues. But do you think he knew?
I don't think so.
I knew you were going to say that. See, how could he not?
I think he felt she was getting away. I mean, she was in D.C. She had her own life. She was barely visiting. He's acting like he was all reasonable about it. But there was an exchange, where it's like, I loved her and we were a great team. There was a lot of past tense in some of the things he said. It was very odd. I think that he suspected, they weren't having intimate relations. They had an argument.
And he said that.
Yes.
They hadn't been intimate in a while, yeah.
Well, clearly, he was on the porn channel.
Right.
He could have been on the porn channel. And been
yeah.
But nonetheless, I digress.
Yeah.
I just think that I don't know if he knew, but I know he knew there were trouble. She was making money. He's about to go to prison. He owes at least $400,000 more in restitution. And the other thing is that the other thing that struck me too was while they're about to they're at this wonderful New Year's Eve party with their best friend Jem had come over and they're going to have this dinner. At around 7 o'clock, 6:50, there's a search where he's looking to play poker on his phone. I mean, how great a time were they all having? It's like he's kind of checked out, but I think she was making the moves to leave.
And do you think?
But I don't know if he knew that she was having an affair, because he gave the name. This is what the defense pointed out. He gave when the police asked, who can we contact to ask about her? Who are her friends in D.C.? Who does she know? And he gave the name of the lover. Like, who would do that? Like, point them to someone she might. I mean, he gave the name of her close friends and the guy that sold the house in D.C. to the Walshes.
I didn't catch that. He gave the name.
Yeah.
As almost like an emergency contact.
Well, yeah, you could talk to him. They were really good friends. She's known him a long time. The one that she had a crush on.
I think he knew.
Oh, that makes you think the other way?
I almost wonder if he just accepted it. Like, they weren't intimate anymore. Maybe he had kind of moved on in a way. But then I guess why would he allegedly killed her if he wasn't still?
He didn't accept it because she was going to go with the money. This is a guy that's like all about money. And I think that's how they met. He wined and dined her. He traveled. He looked like he was like this fancy art dealer. All those pictures you see, they're on yachts. They're in fancy hotels. They're going around the world together. She looks like flush with excitement. I mean, and she was clearly smart and took advantage of opportunities. It didn't come from a lot of money, but he was flashy. And then suddenly he's a criminal with no money, and they have 3 kids, and he can't even leave the state. Why wouldn't she want to take her kids to D.C. and like move on? He kept talking about how she suggested that, and that he should come when he can. And he was like, it'll be too much for you. I mean, the only power I think he had was the kids in this relationship. Anymore, there was none. That's it. He's caring for the boys, and they had a nanny too. So I mean, I'm not to trash that, but it was like, it's French toast morning. He was daddy, daycare kind of guy. What it was at this point, I think that she was out, and I think he knew that. I don't know if he knew with whom and how often.
With the defense trying to make the point that everything was okay with them, but then the searches showed, a lot of divorce searches that he was doing, looking for lawyers, best men's divorce lawyers.
Well, I think that's because he thought he was about to get divorced, that she was going to divorce him.
You think it was because...
I think he was being on the defense. Like, I want to get the best lawyer in D.C. She's about to divorce me. The defense tried to make... I didn't buy this at all. In the cross-examination, the defense tried to make it about how she... how they were looking at how to best protect their assets. That's a good way to get out of a marriage. We should just get divorced for a little while. I'm going to take the kids to D.C. You can't leave Massachusetts because you're a felon. Yeah. And you have to pay back a ton of money and have no income. So, no. I think he knew it was coming. So I think he had to prepare. I just don't think whether he knew about the divorce or he didn't know about the divorce, he knew about the affair or he didn't know about the affair. It doesn't really matter. That relationship was a mess. And they never saw each other. And when they did, they weren't having sex. And she missed major holidays where little kids were expecting her to show up. Clearly she didn't want to be there. That's what I think. And she was working crazy hours that no person in any reasonable way would think was actually just work.
Right.
You'd think she didn't want to be there.
Well, and that's what he kept saying to the detectives in the interview. Like, oh, but she was just working a lot.
She was sick.
I don't even know when she would have time to have an affair.
He tried to lay out a lot of stuff to the detectives. She was going to see a psychiatrist. She was pale. She was exhausted. She was working all the time. Yes, we had our troubles, but we were going to see it through. I couldn't decide which defense he was going to go with. He was like all over the place.
Well, do you think that's the strategy?
Yeah, they're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks.
Just maybe they just get one person with some doubt of, well, did he definitely do it,
It's difficult because even if there isn't the motive of the affair, all you have to say is it looks like she was going to leave him. You're looking, and I think that, but there isn't any friend who said she talked to about leaving him. She didn't even tell her friends about the affair.
Right.
So she was pretty close to the book, playing her cards close to the vest. So I don't know, how they're going to prove that, I don't know how they're going to show that he actually killed her, but you just have to put enough doubt in there because it's such a mess. It's like this beautiful house from the outside, and when they went in, you go inside, you just everything's wrong. Kids are running wild. One guy's playing poker on New Year's Eve, while they have a friend over. And then they're going to bed, and he goes downstairs to clean up. It's all he lied about all of it. It was a mess, and it was falling apart. And I think he knew it, and she must have said something. And
maybe that night. Yeah.
when they went up, and
Yeah.
nobody had to be drunk. I mean, like, it's a married. They're going up there. They haven't had sex, and maybe wanted to have sex. And
Yeah. What about and this is the first time I had seen this, the pictures of the cuts on his hands. And the prosecution says he dismembered the body, which it's not easy to do. I mean,
Well, they
from
were
other
pretty
stories
small.
I've covered, it's
I know
the hacksaw, and could that be, I mean, how do you cut your hands like that?
there's only 2 cuts.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I mean, I guess I'm sort of looking for an OJ kind of cut, or in the cases that I have covered where somebody has used a knife, it generally slips. This is what detectives will tell you all the time. I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell from the picture if the cuts were on the left hand, because apparently when people are stabbing people, they put their hand out and they stab them like that, and that's where they get cut. But they were like on the finger, like, so I don't know. I mean, if it was, I don't know if he's right-handed or left-handed. Rosaries were on the left hand today.
Well, that's the thing, the
coat.
rosary, we talked about this yesterday. So he had this rosary that he was holding, kind of showing to the jury, it felt like, which we talked about, never seen before, you've never seen before. At first today, we thought the rosary was gone, but then the rosary was back. Was he holding it low? Do you think that he was
No,
told
it
to
was
keep
on his wrist underneath his coat. I think he was told to not be flashing it to the jury.
Yeah.
He was holding up his hand with it tied around here. Like, anyway, like to the jury while people were talking, he was told something, because a source, I asked somebody, about it in the courtroom, and they're like, oh no, I didn't know, I don't know. And then today they said, well, you were right. So clearly there was like some sort of acknowledgement that that he had it. And here you go. I mean, and today it's not really visible.
Have you noticed anything with the jurors? Like, I mean, I noticed yesterday, they seemed attentive. I mean, it was only day 1, but like, has there been any, I haven't noticed any really emotion from them that I could say for sure.
I didn't really see much emotion either.
And some of the stuff is awkward too. I mean, some of it's like with the porn, and the mom is in there, and
I looked at the judge, and she was trying to hide a smile, because it was just, no, because he goes, when the defense attorney asked the state trooper, if, can you see what he was searching? You can't, can you? See what he was searching on Pornhub? And he goes, well, there's no way for me to see the search engine on Pornhub. I'm sure there are options when you click on it.
Yeah.
And then the judge, I know she caught my eye, and I just looked down because I did not want to get in trouble for smiling, but it was really awkward.
Yeah.
It was like an awkward kind of, because the state troopers he didn't want any talk of, like, he had to testify that he had done a thorough research on all of this evidence, but nobody wants to be talking about how they were in Pornhub and they use it regularly. So,
when you talk about the troopers
on national TV.
A few people have asked me about this. Michael Proctor, connected to the Karen Reed case, a whole backstory with him, not good. Is he a big deal in this case? Do we know? I mean, he hasn't testified yet.
He hasn't testified. I think he's coming soon. Right? Yeah. I think he was there when they collected evidence. I can't see. I would imagine the defense will use that too. I mean, this is kind of why we're all over the place.
You think can they bring that up?
Well, if he talks about doing a good job or having a good record or opens the door in any way, shape, or form, I'm sure they can bring it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had some problems in your past, haven't you, sir? I mean, yeah. Unless they stipulate it to some things, but maybe they don't even need to, because the Karen Reed trial, Proctor. I mean, I don't know if that was in the jury questionnaire. Do you know this policeman? I mean, there were a lot of people that came to the search. So, and they've been very careful, the prosecution, about talking about, and then you logged it, and you got a receipt,
right.
And it's just, ad nauseum. So today was a digital technology day. I think he knows some of that stuff too. I think he may be tomorrow. I really do. There's a bunch of policemen, like, just out, and they all have the same haircut, so they're all like sitting outside the courtroom. I felt a little sorry for the trooper today at one point, because nobody wants to be in the stand being told you didn't do a good job. He did, find these searches.
But they always do that.
I know, but it was tough, and it was a little tough on him.
What about,
defense attorney did a pretty good job of, like, but you didn't even look at that? No. But you looked at this. Well, did you look at this book title? Do you know if it's really about this? About bodies that were murdered? That kind of thing? No. Sir, this was 3 years ago. I'm not sure. I don't recall. you know.
What did you think about, right where you, in front of where we've been sitting is Brian Walsh's mom, who I think is the only, I couldn't figure out who those other people were. I think she's really the only family member, I think.
I think so.
And she's
Those other
been
people
with
were
him
not there today.
throughout this whole thing,
Yes.
like showing up and very supportive of him. Did she show any emotion that you noticed?
No, I saw her at one point close her eyes and her hands were clasped, and I wondered if she was praying. I think she's like kind of not there sometimes.
She
It's
seems
very,
like a tough cookie.
well, I think she's just not listening sometimes. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
He doesn't look at her when he leaves. I don't understand that. He looks straight ahead.
That's weird.
It's really weird because she keeps coming up in all the conversations. So I went over to my mother's, and my mother bought us this, and my mother did that, and we were going to visit my mother.
She was nodding when he was talking about how.
That's what grandmothers did.
Yeah, that's what.
Pay the rent.
Yeah, helping pay the rent. She nodded, so she was listening then. But maybe as it got more.
It was a long
awkward.
day today.
Yeah.
And it was rainy, and it was dark, and what we were talking about was dark, and it was kind of disgusting. I mean, what we're seeing, he was searching. It doesn't make it any better that it wasn't on his kid's phone, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, they're really awful. I mean, he's talking about dismembering the mother of like 3 little boys.
Yeah,
It was a lot. If you come back too far, this is kind of what I wrote about in my book. If you get in too close, it gets too upsetting.
Yeah.
So you got to step back a little bit so we could just present you with what we're hearing.
Right.
And some theories. But I think you're right about one thing. I think the defense is all over the place. They're just trying to find something.
Yeah. He has a tough job, What about,
But he has a theatrical flair a little bit.
Yeah, no, he
which
does.
is helpful. But the prosecutor today on direct was quite good too.
It's hard to say who's who in a courtroom, but it isn't. No one is striking me like Ana. I don't know that she has like family there or like a big group of friends. I haven't really noticed.
Her sister
anyone.
lives in Canada, and her mother lives in Serbia.
Yeah.
So no, she's in Belgrade. So and she elderly. I mean, I obviously had some health problems for part of her trip when she went on her trip with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
So and they did show those receipts for the airline tickets and stuff, but they can't prove that he saw those receipts.
In terms of whether he knew.
There was also a discussion with him about whether.
And you're saying that because the boyfriend guy she was having an affair with went with her overseas to visit the mom.
Well, first they went to Ireland.
Right.
First they flew to France, then they went to Ireland.
I mean, this was a real affair. This
Yeah.
was deep.
Yeah.
So he's going to take the stand, this
Yeah.
guy. That's going to be interesting.
I think he is. I mean, they've mentioned it.
Yeah.
So
it seems
we'll
like
see.
he would. I mean, it would make sense.
He's probably going to talk about how much she hated him and was scared of him.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that would be why you'd put him on.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think it's interesting that nobody seems to have known about this affair. So, but I don't think it really matters. I think the fact that they were having all these problems is enough for us to, if he thought he was going to lose his wife who just got a job that made twice as much, who had all these accounts, who was really good with money. I mean, she had all these accounts and she was investing. She was the one that paid the bills. He always acted like, and I think it's true because when they talk about health, I wasn't the one that did that. She did that. She was really good with computers and those apps.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. There was a lot of that discussion. So I don't know. It was he was pretty good at searching, I guess.
He did a lot of searking.
He did a lot of searching
Which
about.
is just so dumb. It's like
it's so dumb. How do you destroy?
Know,
Can you destroy a hard drive?
Yeah.
And then what can they tell? Can the FBI tell when you turned on your phone? I'm like, have you ever watched Law and Order?
I know.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting. We still got a couple weeks to go. So thank you very much, Allison.
Thanks.
I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I think
it was a long, it was
been
very
so rainy.
intense.
Yeah. And just intense and sad. Like you said, try to keep that layer up, but it really is
It's
sad.
tough. It is sad. It's tough because I keep thinking that apparently some neighbor took it, some family friend took in the boys. They were in.
Some people have asked me that, where the boys are. Yeah.
They were taken in by a friend and who's I think going to raise them, but for a while they were like in child services.
Were they? Yeah.
Like in the system. It was like one day they're like running around the house with their dog and their dad, and their mom's there, and the next day, and you hear the ruckus of them.
It's
a
sad.
cacophony of like little kids laughing and playing jokes on each other, and it just
That's so sad.
really sad.
All right.
Well, we're going to leave you on that happy note.
It really is awful though, but we'll keep you guys posted as everything develops. All right. See you.